Now I have tested and hyper-analyzed all the buffs and nerfs that came with the recent patch and created a new tier list ranking all 35 heroes to start Season 1. Now I will admit, I'm not the greatest player on the planet, but I am a solid Grandmaster / Eternity ranked player. So I do think my experience with these characters is very relatable for 99% of you. Alrighty then, let's jump right into it. Starting with low tier, we have Black Widow. So Black Widow received a huge buff, right? They knew she was trash, so they reworked her, right? Well, did it make a difference? Survey says, nope, still doo-doo. Now she can run around more.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
Captain America. Well, they decided to buff Captain America. Essentially, they just made him more survivable. Overall, he still does what he always has done, which is pretty much nothing. Just run around, punching random people in the face, like some stupid knockout challenge. You know, he's not great at killing. However, he is good at distracting, being annoying, jumping in, causing a disturbance, and then running away. Although, they have buffed the Thor team up. Yeah, now we're talking, baby, now we're talking. So definitely more powerful now. So on his own, he's still low tier compared to the other dive tanks, but with the Thor team up, he's mid tier, upper mid tier. Here we have Thor. Now they have indeed buffed Thor, but not significantly. He gets a whopping 25 more maximum health. And also, now he cannot be stunned out of his ultimate. But that wasn't even really a problem. These buffs are not game-changing whatsoever. See, the thing is with Thor, he needs a very good player who knows him well. Like, only true Thor mains really cause a problem on the battlefield, and even with that, he still requires another tank. Now, I'm sure some people can argue why he deserves a higher ranking. I mean, yeah, of course, I've seen Thor put in work, you know, by creating space, isolating targets, and picking off supports. Also, now that Hela won't be banned as often, you can use Thor with the Hela team up. And Hela being capable of reviving Thor is huge. So Thor ranks lower mid tier, but with a strong Hela, he can reach high tier. He can get some great value with that team up. Here we have Rocket, my favorite little rascal. They buffed his team up with Punisher, and plus, they increased Rocket's healing from 60 to 70 health per second. And even though that's only an extra 10 health per second, it can affect more than just one ally, and it has a 5-meter radius of effect, which is fantastic. That is quite large. So on maps that are totally enclosed, you can get your balls bouncing around for everyone to enjoy. Oh my god. That sounds crazy. I think Rocket is now truly viable in the right hands, like players that can actually capitalize on his movement capabilities and his damage. Because remember, his minigun is insane. It deals over 250 damage per second, but only within 10 meters. So it's got a very short fall off range. But this allows him to shred enemy tanks, and I love doing this. Sneak right up on the front lines, shred a vanguard real quick, and then scurry away. Plus, Rocket has his revive ability, so I think Rocket is better than most people give him credit for. So he ranks at the upper end of mid tier. We have your friendly neighborhood piece of. Now, it's not mentioned in the patch notes, but they fixed the animation cancel that used to perform a nasty combo. Spider-Man players are not happy about this. So technically, it's not a nerf, but he was nerfed. As it stands, Spidey is chilling in mid tier. Now, Penny Parker was not altered this season, which is a good decision. I think she's in a really good spot because when used correctly on the right maps, she can excel. Like, she can counter divers with her mines, Wolverine, Black Panther, Magic. She can very effectively counter them with good mine placement. Also, of course, she is very strong at holding down control points. So when she is good, she's really freaking good and has a very strong presence on the battlefield. However, you only see a great Penny like 30% of the time. For the most part, in my opinion, she feels like one of the easiest tanks to eliminate. Like if I see a Penny, I am targeting her. Now that's just what I've experienced up to and throughout the Grandmaster, and I know in even higher ranks, it just gets worse for her. But like I said, in the right situation, she can really shine and get great value. So I think any significant buffs would have made her absolutely broken in those particular moments, which would have been really annoying. So overall, I'd say mid-tier. Bucky, Winter Soldier. Now before the patch, I wouldn't have ranked Bucky too high. Because I mean, dude, first of all, I think we've all acclimated to his ultimate. Whenever you hear Bucky's ultimate activate, any good player instinctively knows to survey the area and help his allies. Use teamwork to keep your allies alive so that you can all survive the attack and not let it snowball into a double, triple kill or even worse.
And dangerous! Again! 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 Fucking compete! I just can't fucking compete! Again!
Another reason, Bucky has a 45% win rate on both PC and console. 45% is not good. That is not good. However, that might change, considering he received a significant buff. They claim to have lowered his long-range strength, but boosted his medium to close range capabilities. But I mean, he was never a long-range type character anyways. He's always been a close combat savage. And now they have increased his base health and the bonus health he receives from his skills. So this exponentially boosts his survivability. I think that's going to have a big impact. So with all these buffs, Bucky definitely deserves high tier. Here we have a controversial one, Scarlet Witch. So to sum up how they altered Scarlet Witch, previously she was extra effective against tanks, like against high health pool enemies, because she has percentage based damage, similar to Wolverine. But now she deals less damage against high health pools and more damage to squishies. So she's not solely effective against tanks anymore, it's more balanced across the board. And they also gave a simple damage buff to her magic missiles, which is nice. So overall, I'd say this is a net positive, and she was buffed. Next up, the Squirrel bitch. Yo, everyone always talks crap about the Squirrel, but sometimes she can have a real strong presence. She still has a terrible win rate overall though. It's like 40%. That is garbage. But I do think that will increase over time, considering she got a decent buff. The rework to her ultimate is drastically better now. Instead of bouncing around randomly, it will always target the nearest enemy, so it locks on to enemies now. Previously, it was just a nuisance, but now you gotta take it seriously and try to dodge. Before, she was a garbage low-tier character, but now I could rank her mid-tier. One of my favorites, Lil Jeffy. Now first off, they increased his healing, and weak healing was the main thing that people claimed was Jeff's downfall and why he wasn't viable compared to other healers. But they've increased 140 to 150 health per second, and that doesn't seem significant, but I think it has made a difference. I mean, 150 health per second is no joke, man. Secondly, and most importantly, they finally fixed his ultimate, and now it works how it looks like it should work. I still think it's an incredibly effective ultimate though. Like, y'all gotta realize, it's very situational, only truly effective on certain maps, certain choke points. Like right here, for example, you can easily munch down 3 or 4 enemies, and this area gives Jeff direct access to the out of bounds. So a great Jeff player can almost guarantee eliminate 1 or 2 enemies with his ultimate, even after the patch. A great Jeff can also never die. Like, he might have the most survivability in the entire game. So even though Jeff's potential is limited, he can still get great value in the right player's hands. And especially with the healing buff, it makes me give him a decent ranking. My brother sent me a clip of this gameplay, and I said, oh my god. And I swear, the very next week, the developers hit me up to showcase their game in a video of mine. So of course I said, yeah, this looks awesome. It's called The Hidden Ones. Now I've been playing the demo, and dude, first off, they got story mode, where you fight through insane boss battles. I'm talking giant boss battle experiences. They've also got some beautiful cinematic cutscenes through which you slowly uncover the story of your character and the game. Story mode is cool, yeah, but maybe you're the competitive type like me. Well, duel mode is where it's at. This is the competitive PvP arena. Intense 1v1 fights where strategy is king. And they put a huge focus on the competition being fair, with no bullshit or cheese. Now, you can check out this awesome game on Steam right now. I have a link below that goes directly to their Steam page where you can wishlist it and stay up to date. Also, you can get in on the ground floor and be among the first to play the Hidden Ones in the pre-alpha test, which you can claim access to by registering on their official website. And again, all the links are below. Next up we have Storm. Now Storm is finally going to be legit. They increased her damage and speed pretty much across the board. This is no little tinkle. This is a huge buff. Now her ultimate was already incredible, and now it's just even better. You get 450 bonus health when activating the ultimate, but most importantly, it doesn't vanish. You retain that extra health and it slowly diminishes. So this means that you can use the tornado to push forward into enemy territory, like just dive right in the enemy's booty and rip it up. And now with the extra health, you can survive that. You can safely return to your team after it's done. I guarantee we'll be seeing Storm much more often now. She was garbage before, straight doo-doo. She jumped from the bottom of the barrel all the way to upper mid-tier. Iron Fist. So I used to love Iron Fist, but after ranking up much higher, I've changed my mind. Almost every other melee diver is better, especially magic. See, in my experience with Iron Fist, he's predictable and easily countered. Like when the match first starts, yeah, Iron Fist can sneak in the back lines, eliminate a few healers for sure. But once the team realizes what's happening and starts to protect their supports more, waiting, expecting Iron Fist to show his face, then he's donezo. The jig is up. All I gotta do is swap to Loki and can shut him down immediately. So yeah, Iron Fist has great burst damage, but I think other melee heroes like Magic are overall more valuable to the team. Black Panther. Goddamn, bro. Panther got hit kinda heavy with this nerf. They decreased his self-healing. I don't know why they did this, because it seemed like Panther was in a good spot. I mean, of course, Black Panther is a savage on the back lines. Iron Fist was supposed to be the shinobi, but nah, Black Panther is the real ninja here. Dashing around, extremely difficult to land attacks on, but that required decent skill. You only saw those type of Panther players in the high ranks, so he was strong, but it took a lot of skill. But now they've nerfed his survivability, and considering Magic and Wolverine received buffs themselves, well, we might just see less Black Panthers around. So now, after these nerfs, I'm ranking Panther in mid-tier. Adam Warlock. Listen. An Adam player who really knows what he's doing can be god tier. He can make giant 1000 IQ pro gamer plays and come in super clutch. Or Adam can be totally useless because he is difficult to play. So yeah, Adam can either be god tier and carry the team, or straight doo-doo trash and just lose the game. Moon Knight. They buffed Moon Knight's ultimate and it is so much better now. Like, the ultimate was quite underwhelming before, but now it's legit. Basically, being inside the circle has become much more deadly. Honestly, his weak ultimate was one of the main downfalls of Moon Knight, so he has officially become a very valuable hero, well-rounded, but is still situational. Like, Moon Knight can excel on tight choke points and narrow streets, but on more open maps, he can fall off and get little value. So in the right situation, Moon Knight is now high tier, indubitably high tier. So Psylocke has actually been dropping lower and lower on the totem pole. At one point everyone swore up and down she was god tier, she's the best dive hero. But lately, not so much, I don't think. I mean, maybe we've all began to learn how to counter her, or maybe we've started to learn other dive heroes that we prefer more than Psylocke. Regardless, her ultimate was one of the best things about her. It's very reliable. It deals 150 damage per every strike, but it has been hit with a nerf. She will now look at shields and bubbles and even deployables as a target. So say Doctor Strange holds up his shield, that will add the shield to her target list. So she will attack Doctor Strange, then attack the shield. Attack Strange, then attack the shield, back and forth. So using shields and bubbles will help to mitigate some of her ultimate. The ultimate is still crazy valuable though. So overall ranking, bottom of high tier. Here we have Venom. Now Venom was already insanely survivable. The thing is with Venom, his problem was being not very lethal and not dealing high damage. Typically, Venom will dive the back lines, give the enemy supports a good slobbering for a few seconds, and then jump away. So I think this buff is very fitting because they pretty much just boosted his survivability, allowing him to distract and slobber on the back lines for even longer. So after the patch, he is certainly more viable now and could rank bottom of high tier. Punisher. Dude, Punisher was already a solid high tier character before the patch, and they slightly buffed his accuracy, making his rifle a straight beamer, even more than it was before. They also buffed his team up with a Rocket Raccoon, so Punisher is simply a better character now. His overall presence can be so oppressive on the battlefield, just flooding bullets into every living thing that he sees. And considering other heroes who play similar roles, like Hawkeye and Hela, got slightly nerfed, we're probably gonna be seeing more Punishers now. Now we have Groot. Groot players are getting better and better, dude. A truly skilled Groot is no freaking joke, man. Both the tanks and the healers have to play completely differently to counter the Groot, or else he will wall off the tanks, preventing them from being healed, and at that point they are donezo. Given the slightest opportunity, Groot will execute this strategy. However, this can only be done most effectively on certain maps, like on the streets in Push the Cart mode. His walls become extremely valuable on narrow streets for cutting off and isolating enemies. So Groot is indeed situational and tricky to play. He wasn't nerfed or buffed, and I'd say that's reasonable. Groot's in a good spot as he is, and I rank him at the upper end of high tier. Star-Lord. See, Star-Lord is an actual fucking champion, and surprisingly used quite often in high ranks. For two reasons. Firstly, he has one of the best ultimates in the game. It deals over 250 damage per second. That's a clean kill on a full health squishy in 1 second. Although be aware, that's within 25 meters. It does have a 25 meter fall off range. But yeah, you can just breeze over the battlefield and get 2-3 eliminations easily. Second reason, his team up with Adam Warlock. This team up grants Star-Lord and Mantis unique self-revivals every 2 minutes. That's insane, dude. Usually taking out one duelist and one support would be a huge win for your team. But nope, Star-Lord and Mantis jumping right back in the action. Star-Lord be chillin' in the upper end of high tier. Next up, we have Magik. Magik received a slight buff to her ultimate, which was already incredibly powerful, so this makes it even more deadly. People are getting more and more experienced with Magik, and those who are good at her are just so reliable. Very reliable. I think she's the best melee diver, and if you check the stats, she has one of the highest win rates, almost 55% overall, and that's on PC and console, both of them. Now Magik converts 30% of all damage she deals into bonus armor. This is what makes her extremely difficult to kill and allows her to straight 1v1 duel with tanks, like a Venom or a Hulk. She can take on by herself. And again, if you think I ranked her too high, go and check those stats, buddy boy. She has one of the highest win rates of all heroes. So yo, Magneto was already a top tier Vanguard. I'm a Magneto main, and I'll admit, he's living in the shadow of Doctor Strange. But I always say how with the Scarlet Witch team up, his damage output heavily increases. With that magic sword, I can get kills on squishies, or I can use it to heavily press the enemy tanks and push them back. And well, hot damn, happy days, they boosted the damage of the magic sword. This now means you're dealing 95 damage per strike. So if you can catch a squishy slightly injured, then all it takes is 2 sword strikes and boom, they dead. But regardless, even without the team up, Magneto deserves God tier. Invisible Woman. Her primary attack has some incredible potential. Being able to shoot through her target, then boomerang back, means when firing on a group of allies and enemies all clumped together, she can get crazy value, dealing damage and healing the entire time. I mean, just look at her ultimate. You can easily toss this ultimate out and get absolutely no value from it. Just waste it. Or you can make some game-changing plays with it when coordinated with the team. So it's all about technique. Also her shield. You can plop that down in front of a Punisher turret, allowing him to set up in a more optimal position. I bet you when players get experienced with her, we will learn the insane tech that she's capable of, and she'll become a serious contender. Now, the developers talked a lot about how they know Hawkeye and Hela get banned most often, and they wanted to fix it. Well, they basically decreased their damage by 5% by lowering the seasonal buff, and they slightly lowered Hela's base health. But that doesn't make much of an impact either. So overall, not a very significant difference here. Hela is still the top dog. However, I do think they succeeded at their goal, because I don't see people banning Hela specifically as often. There's other threatening heroes, like Luna Snow, or Hulk maybe, to remove the Hulk and Iron Man team up. Like, there's definitely other options to ban. So the developers did the job pretty well with this. Same goes for less banning of Hawkeye, which brings us to Hawkeye. Now, to be honest, I do think Hela is the better character, but of course, Hawkeye is a beast. He can be a huge problem with his across-the-map headshots, sniping squishies. Oh, but hold up, they nerfed him, and this across-the-map headshot bullshit is precisely what they nerfed. Before his passive ability worked up to 60 meters away, but now it's only 40 meters. This is actually a great nerf, because that was probably the most annoying aspect about Hawkeye, just being one-shotted from so far away that you couldn't even see him. All you could see was his beady little fucking head peeking out from cover. But thankfully that won't happen anymore. So he still deserves God tier, but is now at the bottom of God tier. Iron Man. So they did not nerf or buff Iron Man in any way. So I'm gonna get straight to the point. With Hulk, he is God tier. Without Hulk, he's fucking low tier doo-doo. But do you think they should have nerfed the Iron Man Hulk team up? It has been devastating in my experience. That boosted gamma beam deals like 300 damage per second, and with quite a far range on it as well. And then you got his ultimate, which deals 1,000 damage within a 10-meter radius. 1,000 damage, dude. Iron Man is no joke. See, the thing is, he can and should be countered fairly easily. However, only with certain heroes. If your team's current composition doesn't counter Iron Man well, and you do not shut him down, he will run amok. He will ruin your night. What you need is a Hela, or Hawkeye, or Punisher, someone to smoke his ass out of the sky. Because if you have, like, Black Panther, or Moon Knight, or the Squirrel as your duelist, then there is no stopping Iron Man. He will pop his head through the back window like a peeping Tom and scream, Hulk. Now, unlike Iron Man, Hulk is still quite valuable by himself. He doesn't rely on the team up. A great Hulk will never die, because a good Hulk knows when to dive, and more importantly, knows when to get his giant ugly green ass out of there. Overextending is the #1 problem with Hulk players. This is even more important now that they've lowered his gamma shield from 250 down to 200. So this means Hulk's gotta be more careful when diving. By the way, quick tip, throwing your gamma shield on multiple allies is a great way to charge up your ultimate. Wolverine is officially S tier. I've been saying it from the beginning, but now people finally learned how Wolverine is actually a monster, stealing a tank or stealing a healer, removing them from the battle, and getting some alone time so he can shred their cheeks to bits. But now they go ahead and buff his max health by 50. And yeah, they also reduced the damage reduction from his skill from 50% down to 40%, but the fact he gained 50 base health means it's still a net positive overall. So he's simply a stronger character than before. Wolverine deserves a great ranking because kidnapping enemies off the battlefield is not only a joyous occasion, but can be extremely valuable to the team. Namor. Both Luna Snow and Namor have been getting banned more and more often now. Their team up was valuable before, but now it's even crazier because Namor's frozen Squidbilly turret received a huge buff. Namor was already exceptional at dealing with divers. Yeah, in case you didn't realize, Namor excels at countering divers. He can set up in position with his Squidbilly turrets to safely protect his supports and shut down anyone trying to assassinate them. And now with the buff, he can counter divers even more effectively. The damage increase was enough, but increasing that slowing effect really sealed the deal. If you're hit with that, you are screwed. Namor's frozen Squidbilly is now top priority. If you see it, you must take it out immediately. So he definitely ranks higher than before. Luna Snow. Mark my words, Luna is going to be one of the most banned heroes from now on. Mostly because of two reasons. Number one, other healers like Cloak and Dagger received a buff, so more players are comfortable using her instead. Plus, number two, because of the team up with Namor. Ensuring Namor does not have that frozen Squidbilly turret could be crucial. So there are plenty of reasons to ban Luna and use other healers if you can. Here we have Mantis. Now, from what I can tell, she has the highest win rate of all heroes, and that's on PC and console. They nerfed her passive movement speed, but it's really not a big deal because remember, she only receives that speed boost when she's out of combat, so it's definitely not a heavy nerf. She is indubitably still God tier. Loki. He's one of, if not the best support heroes for countering divers, especially melee heroes. You drop a clone, activate the green circle of life, and it's over. So if you're a healer and you're getting your cheeks clapped by melee divers, swap to Loki and he will shut them down. Keep in mind, his green circle skill is vital in large team fights. You can get so much value from this one skill. Keep everyone full health. Plus, it hard counters many ultimates. Like Psylocke's ultimate is totally nullified by this green circle skill, and also explosions like Iron Man's, because the explosion will destroy the stones first, but will not hurt you, so the stones will sacrifice themselves and keep you safe. In the right hands and on the right map, Loki has potential to be God tier. Cloak and Dagger. Yo, I don't understand. Cloak and Dagger was already one of the best healers, but now they buff her. And not just a little bit. This is fairly significant. Reducing her healing bubble from 15 seconds down to 12 seconds is a big deal, because that healing bubble is very helpful, not only for the team, but also to save yourself. If you need to counter an enemy diver trying to assassinate you, this bubble will save your life. But more importantly, her ultimate now has 4 dashes instead of 3. This is huge, bro. With only 3 dashes, you had to be much more strategic with where you dashed, but now with 4, you can easily cover a wide area to great effect. The dash leaves a path that, for 5 seconds, heals your allies 220 health per second. So this grants your team a solid 5 to 10 seconds of advancing forwards and creating space. So the Cloak and Dagger ultimate has now become something you must not waste. This is a huge playmaker. Mr. Fantastic. Hey yo, let it be known, Mr. Fantastic is kinda broken. Many have claimed he has potential to play like a tank, and yes sir, indeed he does. You pound your chest like a gorilla, inflate like a balloon, and double your max health. Imagine, you already have 2 vanguards, and then you activate this ability and join up with your vanguards for a strong triple tank push. Now, what's a blessing and a curse with this ability is the fact that it's not manually activated. It auto-activates when fully charged. Plus, it's not a simple timed cooldown. You charge up this skill based on how well you're performing. So if you're putting in work, you'll charge it up quicker, activating it more often, so it's definitely an interesting skill. Mr. Fantastic, I think, certainly deserves to rank in high tier, but I'm just throwing him into god tier because he's new and exciting. Doctor Strange. So they did nerf Doctor Strange. Now, does this mean that Strange is not still the best tank? No, it doesn't. He is still god tier for sure. Like, merely decreasing the recovery rate from 80 to 70% is not a significant nerf. All it does is force the player to act slightly more strategic and careful with using the shield. So he is still god tier and the primary tank of choice for any team. Well, there you have it. If you made it this far in the video, please drop a fat like on the like button and comment below your thoughts. Do you think the meta was shaken up so far or not? Is it too early to tell? Let me know down in the comments. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Stay golden.